Greetings, comrades. It's Conrad once again. We're back in Space Engineers again. Going to show you another ship. It's a there's a number of them, all variants along the same line, and it is, if we swing around, it is the Larson Engineering Ox-Class Multipurpose Hauler. So, built by the same guys who built the Mule-Class, as the bridge design is somewhat evident. It's the upgrade. It's the next step up, as it were, from the Mule-Class multi-purpose sort of vessel, the freight shuttle. As I was saying, they sort of, as the law goes, the Mule-Class quickly got outclassed in terms of its cargo capacity, and so the Larson Engineering came up with this beast. So here we are on the bridge. 3 seats. You'd have your comms, logistics, navigation, and your bridge pilot, captain guy sort of person. That's all there is on the bridge. There's not much else to see. I'll come back there in a minute. That's the only airlock, by the way. There's only one starboard mounting. Here you got an observation deck, and these are the cabins. And there's 4 of these. They're identical, mirrored along the axis. Just, you know, work desk, personal belongings, chest, cargo container, and a bunk. 4 of those for the 4 crew, which are, as I said, the captain, the logistics / communications officer, the first mate navigation officer, and the engineer down the back, which we'll move down to now. But first things first, we'll jump straight down into engineering. I'll show you the entire ship, and then we'll look at the add-ons. So this is the engineering deck. It's quite simple. It's got a cargo container for fuel. It's got it's got 2 large reactors, and it's got 6 gyros, 3 on each side. Very basic sort of build. Not much to it. I'll leave that now. So the way the Ox-Class works, it being multi-purpose, it has these 4 airlocks, which are actual. They'd be detachable. So that's what those windows indicate. It's the idea that these are linked. When we come in here, this is the first module. This is a modular design, so it can switch these out as and when and what's required. So this is a passenger module. You get 4 of these cabins, very small cabins, just personal belongings container, and a bunk bed, just like before. As I say, 4 of these, and that's just so I can carry some passengers, carry some extra crew, whatever it may need. Viewing platform at the front, just to show off the space as it hauls its way across space. We come across the hull to the starboard module. You get a cargo module, and the idea being, this top, about the front half up until about this light, the idea being that this would actually swing open, so you can fit these massive containers in and take these out, as opposed to having to walk them to the airlock or whatever and just be pulled out by workers. Unfortunately, rotors not being 2 and a bit blocks doesn't look great, so I just sort of left it out for now. So you just have to imagine it. But as you can see, fairly big for the ship size. And this is a messy, by no means space efficient setup. Just a couple of chucked in just to show what it would look like. We come back down here. We go to port number 2, port module 2, and this is a medical module. So here you got a reception sort of thing with desk and seats. And you come through here. You come through into the ward, and the ward has got 6 medical stations, and so it can take 6 patients. And then you've got an external airlock, so that in case of emergencies, say medical transport is taking patients off, or ship is bringing patients, patients who need urgent attention on, they don't have to walk down that hall that we've come down. They can just dock straight onto the medical module and dump the patients or pick up the patients, do whatever they have to. Fairly basic. If we come across the hall once more, last time, we come to the Hangar Module, and the Hangar Module has 2 interior turrets to protect itself from unwanted boarding parties, and it's just a smallish hangar. Can fit 1, possibly 2. Well, no, it can fit 2. Can fit 2 of the standard fighter you get when you start up some of the maps. Can fit about 2 of those in each, but really you'd only have 1 maybe. That's all there is to it. So we're going to fly out here because I'm really lazy, and we're going to fly over to this one. So this setup here is about 2,200 tons, so push, I suppose it's roughly, it's around that 2,000 tons to 2,500 tons. That's sort of the general weight. This is a flatbed variant, kind of like the Mule-Class. It can have nothing in it, and this sort of shows you the 4 docking ports and what the support looks like. And it's actually the lightest of the different vessels for obvious reasons. Just show you the engine array. It's got 4 large engines at the back. These are all the sideways thrusters it has. It's only got 6 small thrusters, so it doesn't move side to side at quite a rate, but it makes it more precise when it's sort of docking, when it's docking this up, or when it's picking up modules. It doesn't move at insane speeds, which is quite nice. We're going to jump back in quickly. I'm just going to show you sort of how this handles. Actually, no, I'll show you how the other one. I'll show you how the 4 this one handles. Just you get a feel of what a completely missed. Just show you what it feels like being inside one of these. So hop down to the bridge again, jump in the seat. So as you can see, as I was saying, 2.2, 2.3 roundabout. Puts a fair amount of thrust out. Accelerates at a good speed for a ship like this. And as you can see, the gyros really got all it needs. It does rotate quite nicely, spins around. Well, hey, and it stops quite well too. So it's all you really need in a ship of this size. It feels a lot more like a civilian vessel, you know, with its slow everything. It feels a lot more civilian, because it was designed as a civilian ship. It is used by the fleet auxiliaries, obviously. It's quite useful because of its modular design, but mostly civilian. These are all painted up in Alterra colours because I know and I'm familiar with how I like to paint Alterra colours. So I'm just going to show you, these are 4, I've got a number of different variants, different sort of configurations, standard configurations. This is the Freight Shuttle variant. It's just got 4 cargo modules, so take an insane amount of cargo compared to that maybe, not that one, the other one. Take 4 cargo modules. This is a light transport, so it's passenger. So it's got 3 passenger modules and a medical module. Sort of law reasons, law being there's regulations on how many passengers you can take with what medical supplies. So since it's got quite a small personal supply for the crew, it can't take 4 passenger modules because it's not got enough medical supplies for all the passengers, so it has to have a medical module. There you go. That's your reasons. This one, this is a light carrier, sorry, and this is just, it's got 3 hangar modules and a passenger module, so it can take 3, so it can take ships on board, and it can take the crew, the pilots, and an engineer, mechanic guy to sort of look after the ships. They can all sit comfortably on board this thing. Sometimes just to maybe bolster a small fleet, or maybe as a charter to take people's ships to different bases or colonies maybe. I've just chucked the standard fighters in here just to show you what they sort of look like when they're inside. And then over here we have the last one, and this is the medical transport, and this has got 1 passenger module as you see here and 3 medical modules, so it can take a good 18 patients, but also take the crew, take the medical staff to look after them and give them the care and attention that I imagine they would need. That's all for those. I'm now going to show you, I'm going to sneakily sneak up to one other special variant that's a personal favourite of mine. I'm going to show you this one. I'm going to show you the interior and everything. And then that'll be it. That's all there is to do. So we're just going to float in here. If we just head down, straight down the hallway as we've done before, you'll see that here on the starboard side, it's got a passenger module, 4 crew, 4 passengers can take on board, and on the other side, it's got a cargo module with a much more orderly cargo setup, just to sort of show you what it would look like. Especially that, and it's got particular reasons for being so organised. And if we come down here, we're going to see the reason why. You can sort of make out heavy armour. I'm going to go to this one first. And the reason is, it's got a gun. It's got 2. So it's got 2 massive, fairly massive guns, considering its size. These are described as being the deck guns from a Virtue class cruiser, which is an Aurelia fleet ship. I've not actually built a virtue class yet. I plan on building one. This just sort of shows you what, you know, just 2 barrels, fairly big gun, heavy armor. Quite a nice build. I'm quite proud of how this turret came out, especially since it's the idea is you walk in the back of it, as opposed to the deck guns on my behemoth, where you come up through the mid, you come up from the gunnery deck below. And if we hop in here, you can see it's got one cockpit in attached to the shell, and another on the turret. And the reason for that is it's got all these landing gear in this hub here. It's got 3 landing gear that lock it to the base, and it's got another one here. Sort of, you can see it there, and this just locks the gun down, so that when the ship's in transit, you're not swinging the guns around and snapping them off. So we just jump in the back here, show you sort of what it looks like. As you can see, fairly good, very nice guns. I'm quite proud of them. The problem is you do have to move quite slowly. I'm sure it will happen anyway. It's a bug, I think, just with the way the guns are. It's kind of the way rotors work. In that, I'll see if I can do it. Yep, it's just happened. You start to see the entire. See if I can. There we go. You can see now. I have in fact broken the entire gun to pieces. So you can decide to maybe fly off if it wants to. Which means I'm now going to quickly float over from this fracture. Interestingly, it's done very little damage to the actual gun. I'm quite proud of that. It doesn't take much damage. The gun and the base have not taken much damage, apart from where the rotor has snapped off. But it's done more damage to the ship around it, which I would expect. So we'll just hop down to the other side. And the idea is that these guns would have two crew per gun, which is why it's got 4 passenger. Makes full use of the passenger module. And you'd have one who is obviously the gunnery chief kind of guy. He'd sit on the turret and he'd shoot out and aim and whatever. And then you'd have the other guy who would manage. He'd be a sort of logistics guy, and he would bring the ammunition from the cargo and he'd haul it by personally over here, and they'd load it on. I'm just going to show you quickly sort of what it looks like with firing. I mean, it's not much to say. It just shoots 2 missiles out at the end, nice and pretty. Fairly good aiming, considering. This one's obviously locked down. I can't really rotate it, which is good because I can't break it that way. Honestly, the guns don't break if you're fairly careful with them. But you know, I think it's just the way rotors are at the moment. Too much lateral force, too much shearing force seems to break them quite easily. That's all there is to it. This build, as with my other builds, are up on the workshop even. All on my collection, the Fleets of Khaordum collection, so you can sort of get everything I'm working on, including my behemoth class. Hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you've managed to once again put up with me and my first forays into video making. I'll see you next time. It'll probably be for my battleship I'm currently working on for the Keen Software House Forums competition. Need to get it in. It's sort of bit late. Well, it's not late, but deadline's coming. I want to get it done. It's an all-terror ship. It's called it's a Mammoth class battleship. And it should be quite nice once it's done. Hopefully you guys will like to see that. Hopefully I'll be able to give you a tour of that, as well as I'd like to give you a tour of the behemoth, but it's problematic. So that's all. I shall see you next time. Conrad out.